Welcome, 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 everybody, to the Savage Patreons. We got a good one for you today. We're going
That's
to
some
talk about
French.
this so-called arraignment that they did of Trump, another arrest fiasco, and we are
Hmm.
going to do what CNN and MSNBC didn't want to do, which is listen to his after arraignment speech. But we're also
Right.
going to try and figure out if we can find out what's going on and why, well, we know why, but what their end goal is with all of this. So stay tuned. We're going to be right back. So, um, I have a picture with you, and we are going to discuss a couple of things about Mr. Trump. Um, you guys already know what their end goal is in terms of Trump, but do we know what their end goal is in terms of the United States?
Hmm.
Um, for a long time, Mr. Biden and his cronies, left and right, um, via warmongering and sabotaging of the American economy, have always tried to fulfill Mr. Soros's agenda to destroy America. And they're doing it really good. I have to give Jack his jacket. They know what they're doing. They are.
Uh-huh.
What was that?
Yep.
Was it the Matrix? We have done this before, and we are
Oops.
proficient at it. That's what
Yes,
they
they
are.
are.
They are proficient at destruction.
Hmm.
However, um, this could all backfire on them in a very big way because you can overdo, you can overplay, you can be overconfident, and you can also be
Hmm.
so mad at somebody that you end up burning your own house down before you even get to theirs. So,
Which is
first, we're going to
hilarious.
listen to his speech. We're going to listen to what he said after the arraignment, and then we'll break it down, and we might even touch a little bit on the screw tape letters. I'm sorry. I mean the tape letters with Mr. Biden. And I think I may have a surprise. If I find it, you'll know about it next. So let's listen to Mr. Trumpet.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. It's a great honor to have you here. And today we witness the most evil and heinous abuse of power in the history of our country. Very sad thing to watch. A corrupt sitting president had his top political opponent arrested on fake and fabricated charges of which he and numerous other presidents would be guilty. Right in the middle of a presidential election in which he is losing very badly. This is called election interference and yet another attempt to rig and steal a presidential election. More importantly, it's a political persecution like something straight out of a fascist or communist nation. This day will go down in infamy, and Joe Biden will forever be remembered as not only the most corrupt president in the history of our country, but perhaps even more importantly, the president who, together with a band of his closest thugs, misfits, and Marxists, tried to destroy American democracy. But they will fail, and we will win bigger and better than ever before. Charging a former president of the United States under the Espionage Act of 1917 wasn't meant for this. An act for a crime so heinous that only the death penalty would do, and threatening me with 400 years in prison for possessing my own presidential papers, which just about every other president has done, is one of the most outrageous and vicious legal theories ever put forward in an American court of law. The Espionage Act has been used to go after traitors and spies. It has nothing to do with a former president legally keeping his own documents. As president, the law that applies to this case is not the Espionage Act, but very simply the Presidential Records Act, which is not even mentioned in this ridiculous 44-page indictment. Under the Presidential Records Act, which is civil, not criminal, I had every right to have these documents. The crucial legal precedent is laid out in the most important case ever on this subject, known as the Clinton Socks case.
Yay
You know what that
sucks.
means? After leaving the White House, Bill Clinton kept 79 audio tapes in his sock drawer. They included discussions of U.S. military involvement in Haiti, discussions of U.S. foreign policy, both defense and offense, against Cuba, recordings of President Clinton's conversations with all of the many foreign leaders at the time. Think of that. Sensitive facts about trade negotiations taken from presidential briefings, discussions with the Secretary of State about conflict in Bosnia, and much, much more. Very big stuff. Not only was Bill Clinton never even considered for criminal prosecution based on the tapes he took, but when he was sued for them, he won the case. Judge Amy Berman Jackson's decision states, under the statutory scheme established by the Presidential Records Act, the decision to segregate personal materials from presidential records is made by the president during the president's term and in the president's sole discretion. You're surprised to hear that, aren't you? Any normal administration, even an opposing one, would consider that to be the end, but not the corrupt Biden administration. The SOX decision, as it's known, also states, quote, the National Archives and Records Administration, or NARA, does not have the authority to designate material as presidential records. They don't have the authority. NARA does not have the tapes in question, and NARA lacks any right, duty, or means to seize control of them. This is law. The president enjoys unconstrained authority to make decisions regarding the disposal of documents. That's unconstrained to make that decision. Neither the archivist nor Congress has the authority to veto the president's decision. The Presidential Records Act does not confer any mandatory or even discretionary authority on the archivist to classify records. Under the statute, this responsibility is left solely to the President of the United States. Think of that. That's the decision. Think of that. Now, just think of that. In other words, whatever documents the president decides to take with him, he has the right to do so. It's an absolute right. This is the law. And that is something that people have now seen, and it couldn't be more clear. They ought to drop this case immediately because they're destroying the country. And this is why no other president, even those who kept far more documents than I, has ever been even investigated, let alone charged with a crime. Because the sham indictment put forward by the Biden administration included staged photographs of boxes at Mar-a-Lago. Many people have asked me why I had these boxes. Why did you want them? The answer, in addition to having every right under the Presidential Records Act, is that
You want to know why? Because I can.
Have you seen those photos of all the boxes piled in his bathroom? That just looks ridiculous.
It looks rigged. Yeah,
It does. I mean, like the placement of the toilet, like the toilet was like 18 inches from the wall. You know, it doesn't look like a billionaire's house. It looks like some rat movie.
ghetto.
Yeah, it looks ghetto. There's a chandelier hanging like all the way down. Huge shower curtain with boxes piled. Do you really think Trump would just take all those boxes of classified info and just stack them in the bathroom in his house? I mean,
well, they will hope you think that because they told you he's dumb.
Yeah,
That's
what they want you to think.
Yeah, they'll try and make it look as feasible as possible to the weaker minds. But when you show them the actual moving footage of Biden's garage, that's different.
Yeah, they don't want nothing to do with that.
Yeah, that's different.
And there's pictures floating around of the actual bathrooms in that Mar-a-Lago, home. And then you see the picture that they showed us, and you're like, what? No. No. So people just got to use their critical thinking skills and, really analyze those pictures. And, you decide whether or not they're real or not. In my opinion, I don't think they're real. I think they're all staged. Fakery.
Do you believe, any of you, that now I keep hearing this term floating around, this democracy term,
Democracy.
Yeah.
which
What
we're
is that?
not. And
No.
I mean, everybody knows we're not a democracy. But do you believe that they're going to try and, without proper channels, because they've pushed it so much, create a new version of America that is indeed a democracy?
Yes, because
I
they've already
believe-
started.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. I mean-
so the
Go
new
ahead, sorry.
version, and the new version starts with, psychological warfare, right? Mind control.
Mhm.
You notice how they always say democracy. We're a democracy. We're a democracy. And they keep saying it over and over and over again. Then you'll hear some mental midget on their social media say we're a democracy. And you look at them like, dude, we're not a democracy. We are not a democracy. Though we have forms of democracy within our institution, and that's mainly
Yeah,
at the
mental
local level.
midget.
Yeah, mental midgets. That's mainly at the local level, mayors and all this when you start working at the state level. But once you get up to that level, the federal level, we don't have a democracy. This is why we have the Electoral College for a reason. So
Yeah.
quit saying that our government is a democracy. We are not a democracy.
We're a republic.
Yep.
For the republic. But yeah, I think they've already started. They've started for a long time on working on this revolution of theirs. I mean, it started like I said before. It started probably back when Kennedy got assassinated. That's when the real state started. That's when they had absolute control of power, and they have been running this scheme for a long time. And so now it's just coming to fruition of where the left is going to change everything that they're trying to do. So it's a revolution. It's either going to devolve into a civil war or it's the revolution and they win. And they create what they want.
I mean, if they win, that's dystopian. I'm just gonna say it right now. If the left has their way, it's going to be a dystopian America. I don't think it's gonna be America anymore. It's gonna be
It's already a dystopia. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay, fine, yeah. No, I'll give you that. But more or less, the left can't win. I just swear. To be a leftist,
Every
has got
movie
to.
has shown exactly what we're living through right now, or book.
Yes,
We've
sir.
already been warned years and decades in advance, and we're living the dystopia right now. Like, it's not gonna be a dystopia. It is one already.
Yep. Go back and watch some old videos of George Orwell, right? 1984 and all that stuff. Watch some of the old videos and some of the stuff he was saying back then. Listen to what he's saying.
Yep.
He's talking about a lot of the stuff that is going on now. That term that goes around, especially the conspiracy theory circles, conservative circles, QAnon, Q and Anon circles. Everything they do is in plain sight. Everything they do is in plain sight. It's right there in front of our face. It's been in front of our face. Just a lot of us were so brainwashed to not see it at that moment. But now we're seeing it. And this is the term, the Great Awakening. This is where this comes from. A lot of us are waking up to the truth that has always been in our face. And there's a lot of Americans out there that don't want to see that truth. So they're going to be living in their little utopian empire, and it's going to be hell, and they're never going to wake up to it until they're at the goulash, standing trial, waiting to get their head chopped off.
I'm going to say again that my theory about the 2024 election not taking place is still going to stand, and here's why. I have a suspicion that there are many rule changes coming, and they're going to start pushing things up that may not be constitutional, but they'll make the stupid people in the public eye not care. One of those things is if they can even remotely let anything stick on someone like Trump, they can easily put it to where if you are convicted of anything, you can no longer run.
Yeah.
And I think that may be their end goal. I don't know for sure, but I've seen them do dumber stuff and make it fly.
You're not wrong.
And when we start seeing that they're putting so much emphasis on records, the only hope Trump has at this point, now here's where I don't think it'll work. The only hope he has is to compare and contrast former presidents and himself.
Mm.
Here's the problem. Every former president was okay with wars.
Mhm.
There isn't a single one in the past that wasn't pro-war. And the pro-war minds were involved in every nefarious trade deal to undermine American authority, the people, and the economy. Every last one of them. You can look back as far as you want in history, and all they did was participate in the global agenda. They all did. The only one that didn't was him.
Yep.
Now, whether you like him personally or whether you like him spiritually, that's aside from the issue at hand, which is the political reasons that they hate him. So I can easily see where they put this as a brand new, and trust me, the Republicans are not going to do anything. You have what, 6, maybe 7 that will talk up,
Yep.
4 in the House and like maybe 3 in the Senate. That's it. The rest are all rhinos. I don't even care what Grassley is doing in terms of Biden. All that is smoke and mirrors. They're not going to do anything. Biden's not going to go
Controlled
to
opposition.
prison. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Because they're still not pro-Trump, which means they're definitely not pro-America. They're just not willing to give up their seat yet. So they have to feign like their interest is still in America, but it's not. So I can easily see them putting this out there that they have made some changes, then the Republicans are going to go for it because none of them really want Trump to win either. Where if you become a criminal, you cannot run anymore. And I can easily see them taking this to the next level and saying, since he can't run, this is our next guy, and he's going to be too weak to fight against the Democratic machine. And you're going to see Biden get another 4 years without even having an election, really. And he'll end up getting deseated, and Harris will win.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of this started. Tucker Carlson talked about it today. I think I sent you guys a video. When Trump was on that debate stage in the Republican primaries, and he was talking about the war in Iraq, and he was talking about the weapons of mass destruction, how it was all fake and it was a fraud. And he was poking the eye of the establishment for the whole world to see.
Yep.
Right.
He sealed his fate right there. And another point, Newt Gingrich, when he announced he was running, Newt Gingrich came out and said he'll never be accepted because he's not part of the club. And everybody's like, what club? You know, the club. What club is he talking about? But if you really think about it, he's not a part of the cabal. He's not a part of that elitist group of people. So even Newt Gingrich knew they were going to come after him hard. You know, they've been going after Trump for the last 7 years. From when he said he was running, no, he's not. He'll never be president. He'll never do. They were making fun of him. They were doing this. They were mocking him. They were talking about his kid. They were making fun of Barron. They were talking about his family. They were talking about his everything to try to destroy this man. Then when he got elected, they had to turn it up. So if we think this indictment thing is going to be it, say he gets past all this, like Marlon said, they're going to come up with something else. It'll always be something.
The only way it stops is if he's dead in the ground or he gives up. That's the only way it stops. At this point, they've put too much energy and time into destroying him that they have to complete it. If they don't, then they've lost. And I think there's no going back from that. They've already broken every precedent that the United States has had. The only way I can see that they could manage to rectify this and save themselves would be for Biden to come out and say, I'm going to pardon Trump of all the charges because he's facing federal charges. He can do that under their federal law. He can do that. He can't do that with the state stuff, but he can do it with the federal stuff that his AG is doing right now. So he could pardon him and go, look, that's almost an admission of guilt because I pardoned him of his crimes. We get the win without any of the damage, right? So now they can hold that over him over the election and say, hey, you've already been pardoned for all your crimes. You really shouldn't be running. You're not a good choice, yada, yada, yada. This is what I would do if I was a Democratic strategist. I would be telling Biden, pardon Trump, get him off of the airs, right? That'll be enough to damage his reputation. We can still run against him, and we can win if we use that as the bludgeon, saying that we pardon Donald Trump because we're the American, like we're for Americans, we're trying to heal the nation, yada yada. That's how that you could use that leverage to win. Except they're too stupid to do that. They're not going to.
Yeah, yeah, you're right about that.
I mean, one thing that they're not taking into account is Trump's base. You know, there's a lot of people out there that are just sitting back very quiet. You know what I mean? And you have to worry if you indict Trump and say you found him guilty, you got it, boom, you put him in prison. Do you really think, like honestly, that his supporters are just going to sit back and take it and agree? They're not.
He's already on the ballot.
Yeah,
he's already on the ballot.
They're going to go to the polling and they're still going to vote for him. And you're going to have if he's in prison, you're going to have your first president in prison making decisions. So either way, I'm voting for the man. I don't know about you guys. Either way it goes, I don't care. I'm voting for him.
He's getting street cred, though. I mean, if that's the case, it's like, man, the only other person that come after you this hard is, being black in the wrong place, right?
So I may not have been that far off, unfortunately. The DNC moves forward dramatic change to presidential primary calendars. We knew that they were trying to change the way their nominees are presented, right? And as much as people don't want to admit this, right, exactly. And I think as much as we don't want to admit it, the Republicans do follow suit. It may not be in direct line, but they do follow suit after a while of the DNC.
Yep.
I can easily see them doing the exact same thing to keep Trump off the ticket, where they don't go based on what the public might want. They go based on something completely different, like the Democrats do, which I can see happening because they're already in cahoots with them when it comes to framing up how they want to put President Trump on the ticket already. They already have him as a dissenter. They have him as a troublemaker. They have him as a instigator of rebellion. They have him now as a possible felon. And not one single Republican. And I know people talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene and all these newer guys, but you don't hear them saying a single thing about the Trump issue.
There's one. Who? And he's running for president. He's the Indian guy.
He has no clout outside of that.
Yeah. But he did come out. He did come out and mention it.
Right. So none of the names that have been known are saying anything about this. And that's what's stressing me out. And it's not stress like worry, but I look at this and I know for a fact that the political landscape is filled with actors. And as grandstanding as Gates is, and Green is, and Brobert is, and even what's his name, the black guy with the beard, what's his name?
Byron. Yeah.
Even them, they like to say a lot of the good platitudes, but the instant I find that you're steering away from what's coming down that everybody can see, I stop trusting you. I have to stop trusting you because you're not even saying that one thing that the American people are all thinking. The ones that are still logically thinking anyway, we're saying it to you out loud that this is a problem, and you're sitting there not saying anything about it. I can't trust you at this point. And so it's just to me, it looks like it's just a matter of time. Okay, take for instance, when Byron was talking about putting McCarthy, when they were trying to figure out putting McCarthy as the House Speaker, right? He was all against it for a minute, and then his vote flipped. That to me, I don't know why I would ever. You can talk all the good you want. He's a great speaker. He can make people think that he has a good intention. But when you put McCarthy as the head of the Republican Party, you lost me. Like completely lost me. Because it's a pretty obvious rhino. And not just any rhino. Like he's one of the top-notch retards of rhinos.
Yeah, very true.
It's the my turn guy.
I mean, and if you stand by principle, right? Any or any human being, if you stand by something and you believe in something and down to and it's part of your core belief, your principles, you would never flip. You would never change. So that's just showing us with these young politicians like Byron and Gates and Brobert. they do have a flipping point. You know what I mean? It just takes a little whisper in the ear, a little offer, a little something, and they'll flip. You have to stand by your principle. No, I don't want nothing from you guys. You can threaten me. You can do this. I don't care. I stand by what I say.
Yeah.
Those are
Your
the type
principle.
of those are the type of politicians we like to get behind. That's
You ain't gonna have
Trump.
'em. Can't have
Believe
'em.
it or not, that is that man. If he says no, he means
it.
no. That's what he means. If he's standing by something, he's standing by it. He's not changing. We need more people like that. And this is why they hate him so much, because he can't be bought.
Yeah. So, Marlon, there's the PBS video. I wanted you to bring that up because there's something that was interesting that they put up at the end of the of his speech, right? Context. Experts warn that inflammatory rhetoric from elected officials or people in power can prompt individual actors to commit acts of violence.
There you
it goes
go.
back to what you were
That's so
talking about.
PBS. That's so
That's
PBS.
PBS.
There it is. There it is.
But that's just what, like, that's what Marlon was talking about, is that they paint him as an extremist, right? They're literally likening him to a figure like Osama bin Laden, right? He is such an extremist leader. He is like all of the imams and every terrorist leader in the world. As soon as he speaks, his words are violence. They cause violence just from him existing, right? So that's what they're insinuating with this, is that him and his followers are terrorists. They are dangerous. They cause violence whenever he speaks. That's what they're getting with this.
With no proof.
They did that with
and the
J6.
media-
They're doing that with a bunch of other instances. Like, I mean, they're calling everything terrorism, from parents going to school board meetings to people peacefully protesting for J6. And I mean, yeah, you're right. They're already starting.
And if the American people would understand that words are spells. I don't know if you guys read all this stuff. Everything they're saying out there, they know a word is a spell. And what I mean by spells, there is some mental midget sitting at home right now and reading those words. And they believe the words that they read. Someone with common sense will read it and be like, that's nonsense.
Right.
You know what I mean? So who are the loudest people out there? It's the ones that take that to heart, that are reading that as truth. So people have to understand, that's why turn it off. Yes, we show you clips, we show you things, but I don't think any of us sit in front of the TV all day and watch the news. I don't. I watch clips.
I do.
I watch portions, but words are spells. So you have to be very careful when you're reading stuff like this, because they're trying to make you believe it. They're trying to warp your brain to believe stuff like this, and it's not true.
To piggyback off of the sergeant there, I want to say words are power, man. Everything in life, everything that has ever happened in history has come out of somebody's mouth, right? But they use words in a way that it doesn't have to be true. It just has to be what you can infer from it, right? So that's how politics work in the United States, or any politics in general, is it doesn't matter if it's true or not. It only matters is what people believe is true. Right? The truth is only what you believe it is. And especially on the left, we know that this is how they think, right? It doesn't matter if it's true as long as it's beneficial to us.
Yes. And again, words are spells. That's what they are. That's exactly what they are. You said power and spells. It could be two different things. A spell is something that entices the brain, that gets you to think a certain way. So Hitler used words, very powerful words. Those were spells. They were spells to get people to react and think a certain way. That's what a spell is. It gets you to do things. It gets things to happen that you normally wouldn't do.
But I would even go so far as to say, when you have words, but you begin to shift what they mean to poison the well even further.
That's what a sophist does.
Yeah. I mean, like, look at what they're doing with gender and sex. They've conflated it. Look what they're doing with the word racism. They've conflated it. Look at what they're doing with the word woman. They've conflated it. So, and they're slowly doing this to change. I mean, so when it comes to this whole notion of Trump being this extremist and comparing him to the likes of Obama and all that stuff, or Obama, well, Osama.
Same difference.
Same difference.
Same person. There.
Right,
He's
exactly.
just got a skin suit on.
When they're conflating these words to the point where it loses all meaning, I think that's when they can swoop in and begin shifting definitions and changing things. I mean, look at Merriam-Webster. They've done that already.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's the least extreme Democrat I've seen in a long time, and she's just a regular hippie chick, right? That's all she is. Like, she's just, I want to do good by everybody. I want everybody to love each other, and they're just like, shut up, you stupid retard. They're like throwing bottles at her, like just to tell her to go away.
Is that Marianne Williams you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't agree with her policies, but
she's a little
she's not a
slow,
bad
though.
person.
She's a little slow, though. She's slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's slow. She's definitely slow.
She didn't expect what the reality of politics in the United States was. That's what her failure was.
But, another way you can gauge mind control, right? Go up to any liberal whether it's family member or friend, and just ask them one question. What do you think about Donald Trump? And what you do before you ask them, you write down everything that you think they're going to say. And watch how many words that you wrote down that they don't see. You're just going down the list. And you're going to see how easy mind control is, because you already know what they're going to say because they've been controlled to say it. They just regurgitate.
Yeah, right.
This, you'll hear somebody on any social media platform today or tomorrow or the next day regurgitate exactly what that says. Mark my words.
Yeah. And here's a really big thing that
almost
people really need to understand, is that I didn't understand it until I went to school for it, is that rhetoric itself as a discipline is over 2,000 years old, and it is important to understand what it is and what it means. Rhetoric is using any and all available means of persuasion, right? That's how you can classically define rhetoric. Not what you say is like, oh, just empty words. No, that's sophistry. Sophistry is empty words. And that's the difference between sophists and rhetoricians, right? When you learn rhetoric, which we used to teach in school, by the way, 50 years ago, way back in the day, like in our great-parents and our great-grandparents' time, they used to teach rhetoric in school, but they don't anymore. The reason why is because it teaches critical thinking. It teaches you how to parse arguments and create arguments to persuade each other and find common ground. They don't want you to know this information. They don't want you to parse language and figure out, what are they trying to persuade me of? What are they trying to convince me I need to believe, right? So if they don't teach you a way to critically think and parse arguments and learn what argumentation is, you will be stuck in the dark forever. And that's why it's so important that you need to learn these types of things. It's a technical skill that you can acquire, just like any language.
You're being rhetorical at this point.
Yeah. but it's true, right? So it's one of those things, if you want to learn how they're lying to you, read on rhetoric. That's how you figure it out. Because that's all they do, is they use that to convince you and persuade you to believe a certain thing, and they will lie to your face and say it's for your own good.
And one way to get you to believe it is to repeat it over and over and over again.
Exactly.
I mean, look at the last 4 years of Trump's presidency. I mean, every single news media outlet, from CNN to MSNBC, he's a racist. He's a homophobe, even though his ambassador was gay. What else is there? He's a transphobe.
He's a phobophobe.
For 4 years, he's a phobophobe. And
anti-Semite. You forgot the anti-Semite.
Oh,
yeah.
Anti-Semite. Even though his daughters and his son-in-law is Jewish, but
he was working with Israel to get a bunch of peace treaties done. Yeah, totally anti-Semitic.
Sure. Oh yeah. Yep.
Moving the capital city to Jerusalem. The noted whatever. Either way,
every president promised.
You're not really
right. But here's the thing, like for the 3.5 some odd years of his presidency, because I don't count 2020 as a full presidential year, because of the Rona. Every single year, every single day, CNN, MSNBC, the left-wing media industrial complex, all spouted the same talking points of his rate, all the ists that he is. And who believes it? All the simp sheep on the left.
Yep. It's very easy. And what's funny is when they bring up Biden doing the same thing, Hillary doing the same thing. They don't want to talk about that. They're saying, well, it's not the same. When Biden was asked for his document, he gave them up. When Hillary, she gave them up. Trump didn't want to give them up, and he had them in boxes and all this other stuff.
Right.
It's just like, why don't you guys just read the law? It was passed by the Supreme Court. He did exactly what he was allowed to do. So I don't even know why he's even going through this right now, because everything he did is legal.
I think when we do get a hold of the how best to say this, the recordings of the current potato in chief, you will see how quickly they backtrack on what records mean for arrests. You will see them having, but here's the thing. Remember when I said you can overdo and you can overreach and you can do too much trying to do something?
Yep.
I don't know if they think long game or if they're just naive to it or they're just thinking it will never happen. But if you start a precedent now, you are setting yourself up for other people to use your precedents against you. And if it comes out that you are now indicting, like Trump said, people currently for something that has never been the case before, just be prepared. The same way you learn with the committees, okay? If you can kick people off committees because you don't agree with them, the other party can do the same thing. And now you're getting mad. You can't get mad when you've set this bowling ball going down the hill. If we ever regain some sort of semblance to logic in this country, I think it'll be the end. Listen carefully. If we do, it'll be the end of the Democratic Party. And I believe every rhino will be done for at that point, because you've set up yourself now for people to use the same clownish stuff that you do completely against you. And I cannot wait for that to happen. However, I have to be logical about this in knowing that it probably will never come to that. I think America has run its course, and I don't think that 2024 is something that we can really look forward to. I still stick with that. I don't see anything so far that has caused me to not think that.
No, I agree with you. I mean, it's where we go from here. That's going to be the big thing, is how the country divides or where the ending actually goes.
Hey, so, I kind of agree, but I really think, a lot of people out there just looking at the political aspect of it, right? Because that's all we see. But there's a lot more going on, and I can get why Marlon thinks that. I don't think he's just thinking, oh, it's just politics. No, there's a lot more going on that is, getting him to think like that, I think. You got to look at the economy. You got to look at these banks. You got to look at everything. We got all these extraterrestrials flying around all over the place. It's just so much is going on, right? Just so much. There's a new virus, disease X, and all this. It's just all this stuff, and it really makes you think, like, what are they really planning? Because I can kind of agree with Marlon. If Trump doesn't go to jail, what do you think their end game is going to be? They have to have a freaking nuke. I'm not saying a nuclear missile would go off. What I'm saying is a panic button that they hit.
I wouldn't rule that out, though.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't rule that out. But there has to be, these people are sitting back, and it's not Biden. It's someone. We know it's somebody else. They're sitting.
The intelligence agencies.
They got a whole freaking list. Okay, if that doesn't happen, what's next? Bring on the extraterrestrials. Oh, people aren't scared enough. Okay, bring out the zombies, and they're just going to keep piling it on. We got to EMP. We got to go. It's something that's going to happen, because they're not going to let this slide. It's
going to be a nuclear artillery in Ukraine. That's what's going to cause. The likelihood of that happening is high, just because of how things are going in Ukraine, and then also how NATO has been acting up until this point. So the Warhawks in Washington have been pushing this war so hard that they've backed Putin into a corner of whether or not to use nuclear artillery, because the longer this drags out, the worse it's going to get. It doesn't get any better than this, right?
Yeah.
So my my thing is you thinking strategically, right? If you push it hard enough, then 2024 comes around. Trump isn't in jail. He gets exonerated. He gets pardoned. Whatever. He's still running. Either way, he can run from jail. He can do all that stuff. So he's still running, regardless of what they do. He's not going to stop that. They know he's not going to stop. So end game is you start World War III. Then all that stuff goes out the window. You don't want a transition of power between two major nuclear powers at the time when the first nuclear weapon has been used. So like like I said, we're already in the dystopia. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the end game. We're already here.
Well, like I said, I'm hoping that I find what I'm trying to find. Because if I find what I think I have, if I find it, we are going to be one of the first to break it today in this current year, if I can find it. Because I have something that I think, if I find it, will be epic, to say the least. Epic. I hope it didn't get fully wiped when they got me the first time.
Yeah.
So
make sure you guys hitting that share button. Share it.
yeah,
share.
make sure you get this out there.
Share and like, comment,
Friday,
subscribe.
Either way, whether or not I
know,
find
right?
this particular thing, I do want to talk about this revelation that the FBI did indeed hide the recordings, and about this $5 million bribing scheme that Biden did. I mean, we knew about this a couple of years ago anyway. It's not like it's news.
No.
So I want to, but I do, what I do have is that, remember that Ukrainian guy that came forward and spoke?
Yeah.
I do have his recording still. That I found. So I think we'll play him so you can see exactly how long ago the FBI knew and how they covered it up before the last 2020 thing. I'm not going to say the word in case they say what I'm trying to
Before he
say.
was even in the presidential race, they knew he was corrupt.
And, you know, to the FBI, I was watching all their congressional hearings, and, you know, what is it, the 1023? What is the document? So the 1023, and they're asking them, well, why can't we see it? Why can't we see it? Well, for the safety of the whistleblower, right? So they're asking them, they're like, well, can't you just redact the whistleblower's name? We've done that before. Why can't you just take the whistleblower's name out of it? Because for the safety and but the minute Donald Trump, if the roles were reversed,
it would have already been leaked to the Washington Times. Man. What are you talking about? We would have had it the day of. Yeah.
I mean, the FBI is not known for, you know, being good guys.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
When is the FBI been honest?
I'm tired of this, you know, back to blue, regardless. Hey, I got it. There's a lot of good officers out there, a lot of good people. But when you get up to this level, you got to go all the way back to Hoover, man. You know, this has been corrupt since him. And people don't see it. They act like this is new. You know, spying on freaking American citizens, the Patriot Act, all this stuff, throwing families in jail, mothers.
Nobody likes
don't
feds
want
anyway.
Their kids to get taught, going to school board meetings, raiding people's homes for some civil stuff. You guys understand that this is just a police arm of the federal government. It's a police arm.
Right.
That's their own personal police, like the SS or something.
It's now the Democratic police arm of the Democratic Party, because they've already shown and proven that's what they are. And they don't care about the rule of law. They only care about the rules that we make up as we go, because the Democrats don't cheat, right? They just change the rules. That's how they win. So, yeah, it's like that's exactly what Democrats do. Is they just did. They don't cheat because they don't bend the rules when they make the rules, right? That's so it's not cheating if you're making the rules. Like if you own the bank, it's your money, right?
I keep telling people, look at the law. Right now, we fall under maritime law, which we shouldn't be under, right? People in D.C., this isn't a conspiracy theory. They have their own laws and their own constitution. This is why they are not a part of the United States of America. So all the stuff that they do, they have their own laws and all their own rules. So stuff that we look at and be like, man, he should be in jail for that. Not under their laws, not under their rules, but anything outside of that, we would be in jail. Like Coy and I and those of us that had security clearances, if we did what these people did.
If we did what Hillary did, we would be.
Oh my God. God.
Done,
We'd
son.
be under
Done.
the jail, even if it's declassified, because you do get declassified stuff that they do
Yeah.
declassify. That doesn't mean I can just put it on a flash drive and take it home and
Why not?
do what I want with it. No,
Right.
it's still
I mean,
for
Look at
official
the dude
use
that
only.
was sharing the information on Discord, right? They're throwing that dude underneath the bus too.
Yep.
So it's like
once-
it's the same thing.
Once people understand that it is true, that term "rules for thee, not for me," that stands true in DC.
Yeah.
They have their own laws, they have their own police, they have their own constitution, and they don't answer to the American people.
Mhm.
They always talk about the Constitution, the Constitution. Which Constitution are you talking about?
Whose constitution?
Whose
True.
Constitution are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Wow.
You
Which
have to
Constitution
put
you're
things in a perspective. This is why they don't get in trouble. This is why Biden just walks. This is why Hillary walks. This is why. When everyone in that system is corrupt, right? Someone has something on someone.
Yep.
So all this political theater about having all these congressional hearings and all this stuff with those people outside of Trump, it's all theater. It's a movie. Because that person sitting on the other side of that desk talking to Congress, he's got something on that congressman that's trying to drill him right now. He goes, okay.
Okay.
You know, and they're not going to do anything. This is why it's in your face one day and you don't hear about it the next.
Mhm.
Like the joke we have an FBI guy. You
That's
know?
right. It's all
Everybody
political
knows
theater.
they're spying on you. Like it's all out there. Here's a thought and question experience for you, gentlemen. Is the tax system voluntary?
Yes.
Yes, right. It's supposed to be. So how does anybody go to jail for tax evasion?
Because it can.
Well, you know, I can.
No,
you
because
know,
like, if it's voluntary, therefore there is no tax evasion because it's a voluntary system. You pay into it because you want to pay into it, right?
and in my
Right?
opinion, there's a lot of people that don't know that. You know, they don't understand that. So when the IRS comes knocking on their door,
Fear.
talking about we're going to take your house and we're going to take you to jail, it's fear. Literally, they can't do anything, and they
In
would
their
lose.
mind. In their mind.
So
In
how
their
can they
mind.
have criminal IRS agents, which one of the things that they were trying to fund to begin with, right? If the tax system is voluntary, that's the question people should always ask is like, wait, is the tax system voluntary or not? Because if it is, then how can you be criminally charged for not paying your taxes if it's voluntary?
Well, technically, it can't. But I think like people like Wesley Snipes and a lot of these famous people. What's her name? The cook. What's her name? Martha Stewart, people like that went to jail. It wasn't for taxes, man. It was for something else. You know, that
Insider
whole
trading.
tax. Yeah, that whole tax
Yeah.
thing was just smoke and mirrors. It was something else because legally they shouldn't have never went to jail for not paying
Man,
taxes.
somebody should be mad right now with
Yeah.
insider trading, right?
Yeah,
It's like
I mean,
Congress is doing it left and right, and then she like went to jail for it, and like
yeah.
no big
But
deal. She's
if-
hanging out with Snoop Dogg, but like no, that's
Right,
that's
right.
fine.
That's
Good
the
question.
thing.
A question is, if taxes were illegal, right?
Yeah.
Like they tell us, every single homeless person out here on the streets right now
Would be in jail.
would be in jail,
Mhm. Debtor's prison.
right? Every veteran that pays 100, that has 100% disability, you're exempt from paying taxes.
Yep.
People on Social Security exempt from paying taxes. So if it was a law, that means the law is across the board. Everyone should be in jail that doesn't pay taxes, right?
But they're exempt.
Yeah, but it's a law. That's what they tell us.
But you're exempt.
They tell us it's a law, but we know it's a voluntary.
Property tax should be unconstitutional. They should
Very
really raise that.
Yep.
Do you remember some time
killing
ago
me
there was
right
a
now.
guy that went out to the IRS and was asking them to prove the validity of income tax? Do you remember that guy?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
there's
wanna
no
try and
law.
Find that video. I want to try and find that video. Maybe we should
'Cause
cover that one day.
We should do that. We should do an entire tax episode because like it is funny the amount of people that don't understand taxes. My wife deals with mortgage people all day because she's a customer service for a mortgage company, right? And people have no idea how when their property taxes increase, it puts a deficit in their escrow. So the
Yep.
bank has to cover that increase, right?
That happened.
And so they're like, why am I getting hit with a $12,000 bill from you guys? It's like, well, that's not our fault. That's your county. They raised your property taxes. We had to pay it. So now you have to pay us back.
Yep, that happened to me. So when
Yep.
I first moved with property tax, when I first moved into my house with property tax, I was paying, and it's a brand new house. You've been in my house, Coy. I was
Mhm.
paying $1,400 a month. That's with taxes. Here we are, 6.5 years later. I pay almost $2,500 a month That's with
Holy
taxes.
moly.
So my
It's a real
property
big problem
tax
in Texas.
almost went up $1,000 a month from 2017 when I moved in till now. Property tax is a ripoff.
That's what
They've
you
been
get
trying to
being
work
black.
on that in Texas in the legislature the last couple of weeks too, of getting tax like easement, I guess you should say. But it's all these Californians that moved to Texas and raised up all the property taxes. So they're destroying the center of Texas like they did California, and so they moved in and they're just like, hey, this is a nice place. Why don't we mess it up? Just shit all over it, you know. It's like
And if
it
you
doesn't it doesn't smell like San Francisco. Somebody go shit in the corner over there. That's what they want.
Yeah, it's insane, man. And you know, that's why I tell people it's not even worth buying a house. It's not, unless you live in a low tax area where the taxes are really low,
Or
but
tax exempt for
you
that
know, if
matter.
you live in an area like me in an Austin area, it's not even worth it. It's not it. And on top of your mortgage going up, on top of repairs, on top of maintenance, on top of on top bills, on top of light bill, and you know, you're paying over $3,000 something a month just to maintain a home. And God forbid you can't make a payment. They knocking on your door, ringing you up. Hey, you missed your payment. I can't pay it. What you gonna do?
Yeah, I got the money.
So you're
Just
homeless
like,
and you're swatting.
Yeah, there's malls across America that are going out of business because they can't keep leasees in there, so they're just giving these empty places back to the banks because nobody can afford to keep the upkeep on these massive places. Right. So it's the same thing. You're going to see that with certain people. They're like, I can't afford the house anymore. You can either just take it and I'll go my own way, you know, or whatever. Like here's the keys.
I mean, that's crazy that people are willing to foreclose on their homes because they can't afford it. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if I foreclose, I'm taking out the windows, I'm taking everything.
No, man, you got to do the fish trick. You know that one. Just put it in the attic like a dead fish and just leave it there. So they always have that
too.
smell, but they don't know where it's coming from.
Oh, they take this house. They gonna have to put some money in it when I leave. Oh, he took all the light fixtures. He took all the copper out the house. I'm gonna have some homeless guys come to strip all the copper out of it.
No. You got to do the little things that inconvenience things, but don't make it illegal, right? So it's just like the little things, like the one light switch that doesn't work in the room because it's not connected to the ceiling fan, or there's a room with no ceiling fan. Just take the ceiling fan out and just cover it up. And there's that one light switch you always flip on, but it doesn't go into anything. Like that, you know, stuff like that.
Take all the air filters out. Just annoying shit.
Yeah, exactly. Just the little annoying things, and like make a small leak somewhere that's always like dripping on their head where their bed would be.
Just make it hell for
Y'all have put too much thought into that, man.
Oh yeah, I have.
Oh my god.
You know,
I am petty when it comes to those types of things. You do the little things that are the worst.
You know, I am very grateful. I'm very grateful every single day that I can get by what I have right now and still have a house. Does it suck? Yes. Am I grateful? Yes, I'm grateful that I haven't had to do anything, but I am selling my house. But I'm grateful that I haven't gotten to the point to where, even though that's a lot of money and I don't make a lot of money like that, I haven't gotten to the point where it's like, oh shit, but next year they're probably gonna raise it again. It's gonna be
but a lot of people in Austin got priced out of their homes, just like every city in the United States. Like eventually, like residents that have lived there since like the 50s get priced out of their homes and they can't afford it anymore. That's been the big issue when it comes to inner cities and the black community and gentrification, is that all these people have been living there for long ass time. They got priced out because of freaking hippie liberal kids.
I mean,
I was like, we'll make it all nice and neat.
Somebody should really dig deep in the Constitution, because I thought we fought a war about this. You know, taxation without representation.
It didn't happen. Didn't happen.
That never happened. That was in you know, the Mandela effect.
Until they get rid of property taxes, you will never truly own your own home, because if they can take it at any time for you not paying for it, you don't own your home. You're leasing it from the government.
Same with the HOAs. HOAs.
HOAs should be unconstitutional, period. I have a whole thing about
don't
HOAs.
Even care. And HOAs know your property tax go up. They track all that. And here they are. Hey, I need my cut too. Get out of here. Damn your HOA. I will burn this house down to the ground. You try to take my house from me. You come over here and nothing but smoke.
HOAs are one of the only legitimate racist organizations that were started based on keeping black folk out of neighborhoods. That's it.
Here we are. With HOAs,
they love their HOAs. I don't know why. I don't know why you would.
Well, it's the same concept that we always talk about. There are Americans out there that are too lazy to take care of their own communities. So they need an HOA to maintain it. The only thing the HOA does in my neighborhood is maintain the swimming pool. And they might cut the lawn. They
you
might
want to
cut the
freak out an
grass.
HOA? Ask them for an audit.
My mom's HOA. My mom's HOA doesn't do a thing. They maintain the entryway sign.
Yeah, they maintain stuff like that here in our subdivision.
And,
But outside
my
of that,
mom
if you
pays-
figure in my subdivision, there's probably about 800 homes, maybe more. And if everyone is paying about $100 a month in HOA fees, that's a lot of dang money. And they only cut the grass once a month, maybe. The pool's only open seasonal. So where's the rest of the money going?
Exactly. That's why you always ask for an audit from your HOA.
Somebody's pocket.
Yep.
When
Exactly.
you see that Hellcat pulling around the corner, you know who got it.
And they're not even in their neighborhood. They're based out of Houston.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that's the same thing as the toll roads, right? They're owned
So
by
if we're
foreign
game-
corporations.
Yeah.
If we're game for Friday to do the Biden tapes, and then Monday we can do
Yep.
the taxes thing.
Yep,
I
sounds
think
good.
that's what we'll do. We'll try and cover. If I find, I know I have at least the Ukrainian guy. We'll play him. If I can find the other thing we talked about, that's even better.
Mhm.
So we'll deal with that come Friday, guys. Make sure you tune in because we're going to talk about exactly what we knew prior to the election and what they sequestered away so more people wouldn't hear it. Because I remember being on Facebook and them blocking it and taking it down for misinformation when I shared it the first time. So
Jeez, of course.
I remember that happening to me directly. I don't need CNN to tell me that, and I don't need the government to tell me what happened to me. I know it happened. So if you guys make sure you tune back in on Friday for that episode because you don't want to miss it. Rumble will be this Saturday, is what we said, right? This Saturday.
I think so. I don't
The
know.
Rumble event will be this Saturday. So
Aliens.
join in again on Saturday, same time.
You seen the
6:30
orbs?
Eastern.
Have you seen the orbs? Like all the videos of the orbs that are flying around, the UFOs?
Man. Everybody's phone. That's a new iPhone glitch, is what they're sending out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Project Bluebeam.
Pre-programmed phones.
Project Bluebeam.
Yeah, project. All of these ridiculous people.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have a discussion about it on Friday, and then we'll see you guys also on Saturday on Rumble. Do not miss it. I'll
6:30
make sure I
PM
at least
Eastern
remind
Standard.
you, and I'll drop the link again on Friday for the Saturday show, so you have the Rumble link. But if you can't find it
Come on in.
on our page on YouTube, there is a link in the banner that says Rumble, and that'll take you directly to the channel. So you don't have to worry about the link. You can just do it yourself and sign up. Any last words, guys, before we dip out of here?
Yeah, somebody was asking about like the school stuff and like people getting together. There are something like that I commented on there. It's called pod schooling, is where you get a bunch of other homeschooling parents together and they create this pod schooling system. You should look it up. It's a great way to have school without having all the unnecessary BS.
And, again, thank you guys. Thank you guys for, being loyal to the show. I mean, we do this for you guys. We're here to put out information. And, if you have any ideas, you guys have our email. The email's in our YouTube channel. So you can just shoot us an email if there's something you want to discuss. We'll look into it and we'll make it do what it do, baby. There's the email down.
Spread the word. Spread the word. Spread the word.
Yep.
Spread the word. Share.
So we'll catch you guys on Friday. And until then, y'all have a grand time.
Jaylee.
Savage Patriots, we out. He busy drinking.